And let's do this, guys. Spawning in the top right position as our blue Zerg player held off Ryung's crazy early aggression and managed to just do a lot of damage with a big counterattack. We have as the blue Zerg player, it is Acer's Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom left position as the red Protoss player, we have coming up for Axiom, it is Crank. Now, Crank already putting the pylon in his main base does look like he wants to go for a gateway expand, or possibly just an in-base forge, or for cannons at least. So this is somewhat of an interesting way to play. He's got a lot of probes queued up, though. He could possibly go for something like a Nexus first, even if there's not any pressure coming. But Crank actually choosing not to scout. He's anticipating that Scarlett won't go for anything cheesy, and to be fair, it does not look like she is going to be doing anything like that. So gateway is coming up, though, for Crank at 13 supply. Very, very standard. If you're not going to scout and open up with a pylon on your main base, you pretty much guaranteed you're going gateway, because otherwise you are not going to know whether or not you need a forge or a cannon against a 6 pool. So you wouldn't be going for any kind of forge play. You'd almost always be going gateway. And that simulator is coming up as well for our Axiom Protoss player. I was looking at his tag here. Young dipshit, something like that. I don't actually know what that means, but sometimes if you say it out loud, like, you suddenly realize, oh, it sounds like this, and then but alas, no such luck. We do have the Cybernetics core on the way, so Ryung's got a couple options. He could go for a very aggressive play. He could go add-on, just go straight up 4-gate or something like that. Most Protoss players do expand when they do these types of builds, but he's going to get a second gas geyser as well. Now, Scarlett spots and sees, okay, well, you have not actually taken your expansion. There's no pylon here. It doesn't look like you have any intentions of going for a fast expand. So Scarlett should recognize this and realize that one of the best responses to this kind of gateway opening is going to be to get a gas. You need to have speed. You need to have something set up so that you can hold off two-base pressure from a Protoss player. But the fact that Scarlett has not yet begun a gas geyser is actually really, really interesting. No extractor at all, no speed or any even possible roaches to stop a two-base 4-gate. So this is definitely interesting from Scarlett. And Crank, well, he's killing those destructible rocks. I guess the plates, unconstructible plates. The Overlord knows now that there is an Nexus going up for Crank, but one of the things a lot of Protoss players do is they just throw down like 3 gateways, which is standard behind this, to help wall off, and then go for really, really, really big pressure. And in fact, something else that we've seen come up is a very fast robotics facility, and we could see Crank do something like that, but I feel like he's just going to get up gateways to wall this off for now. He's got the money. There's the second gateway, and we should see Crank get a 4th gateway. Now double gas being taken by Scarlett, which will, of course, be useful for her to get that defensive setup. And Crank's actually just going to add on. He's going to go up 3 gateways, which is interesting. He doesn't have any tech building up. I feel like he should drop a Robo or a Stargate very soon. And there's that Stargate from Crank. So makes sense. If he's only going to go for the 3 gateways, he's going to have a little bit of extra money he could throw in towards tech instead of going for that that very fast production. But he's going to send a probe out now, and he hasn't actually really scouted like at all this game. The Mothership Core is going to be the first thing going across the field to try to see what is going on here. And well, checking for a 3rd base, realizes, okay, there is nothing here at all. Well, Queen's trying to shove away this Mama Core. We have Crank moving that probe. He's being a little bit of a ninja, throwing down those proxy pylons. This doesn't look terribly aggressive, though. 3-gate pressure from a Protoss player against Zerg isn't really game-breaking. He's going to warp in sentries in his Zealot, though. It does look like Crank wants to get aggressive here. He's going to have more than enough money to constantly produce off of this, and there's a pylon by this 3rd base, but Scarlett, I mean, her drone has eyes. Actually, yeah, drones have eyes. They have, like, according to this thing in the bottom right, they've got at least 6 eyeballs. So he definitely sees that pylon. Mothership Core is going to come here to help cover this, but Scarlett just has her Zergling speed starting. She just has her 1-1 starting. She's playing this pretty greedily. There is a couple of Zealots and Sentries moving up now. Pylon going up. Crank wants to get really aggressive here. He hasn't added on more than these 3 gateways, so his production is going to be very, very limited. It's actually going to be hard for him to spend all of his money. The more Zealots coming in with these Sentries, he may try to just force field off the ramp and just try to kill this off. These are trying to get us around, but now that the Spine Crawlers are done, ooh, Crank's going to take a lot of damage here on his units, losing a lot of these Sentries. He only has 1 left over here, just a handful of force fields. So he's delayed this third base as long as he can. We have an Oracle on the main base, though. Crank's got 4 drone kills so far. Ooh, he's got a 5th drone. He is going to be moving forward. He had 6 drone kills, so really good pressure. 7th drone kill. Very, very nice play here from Crank to maximize trying to just pull Scarlett apart. And Crank does have a good number of units here. He is trying to delay this creep spread and pretty much deny this third base from Scarlett while he gets his economy up. And Crank has done a fantastic job of that. He has his economy. He's saturated on his main base. He is going to be very saturated soon on his natural expansion. He's getting a robotics facility. The Zerglings are finally going to shove Crank's forces back. Of course, he can retreat whenever he wants to, but this Oracle comes in and gets another couple of kills. It's at 10 kills so far. Very, very nice play from Crank. He's got 10 drone kills. Total worker count is actually 41 drones to 45 probes. This is about as good of a position as you could possibly want to be in as a Protoss player versus a Zerg. When you go for a 3-gate pressure with that Stargate, and I suppose it was an interesting thing to note that he did only go for 3 gateways, but these Zerglings are trying to run up and attack this wall. This pylon might actually fall. The force field should keep the Lings from getting into the main base, though. These Zealots are going to get into a fist fight with these Zerglings, throwing down some force fields. Ooh, the sentry falls, though. Good catch for Scarlett. There's a void around the field now for Crank and the robotics facilities, robotics bay coming in. So Crank is going to be able to move into Colossi very soon as the Zealot warped in at this third base with this pylon of Yore. The Oracle is going to run in as well. Oh no, Crank, your Oracle cannot fight Queens. Oh, backs off just in the nick of time. And I like this. Kind of using it to scout. No, the Oracle. Dude, it's so cool. 1 health, it dies. Good catch there for Scarlett. And Crank, a little bit sloppy towards the end there. He did a good amount of damage early on, but now getting out. He's going to get an Observer before Colossus, which is not a bad idea. Of course, the Observer builds so fast, and Crank doesn't really have any way of scouting right now except for that. He could, of course, build a Phoenix or use a Hallucination, but he actually doesn't have any Sentries, so he can't use a Hallucination. He's going to pocket these Phoenix up and then just use them. You know, Scarlett, while she does know that there's a Stargate on the field because of the Oracle, what she doesn't know, or what she doesn't have set up, is really any anti-air. At her expansions. There's a single Spore Crawler in the main base where there is a Hive on the way, actually. But there's no Spores at the third. There's no Spores at the natural. 4 Queens, though, should be able to defend against this pretty well. Scarlett does have quite a few of those. Continue to inject, but this 2-2 is going to line up with this Hive very well. We could see super fast Ultralisks, I'm feeling, is what's going to come here from Scarlett. This is really picked up in Korean meta. A lot of Ultralisk play. If you don't go with Swarm Host, basically, it's Ultralisks versus Protoss. So Zerglings are going to run in towards the third base. Crank is trying to get this third set up. He doesn't have force fields. He needs to count on his units being enough to stop this. The Zerglings are going to try to check the natural expansion and see if there's anywhere they can go there, but this Colossus is about to complete, and the Zerglings are going to try to punch their way in. Will not be able to. And these Phoenix are just kind of running around. Crank is looking very, very solid. He did so much damage earlier on that the supply being even right now is very, very good for him. He's able to get his third base exactly when he wants to, and not a moment sooner or later. And there are a good number of Queens. Scarlett's just trying to push this creep spread so much. But there's that Ultralisk Cavern and the 3-3 coming up for Scarlett with that Hive being complete. 6 Infestors on the way as well, possibly for Neuroparasite or Force Fields. Force Fields being the infested Terrans. You just throw them behind your opponent's army and they actually cannot run away. You can't step through them. But these Zerglings, Scarlett being active on the field, these Phoenix are roaming around trying to find Overlords to pick off. Scarlett being contained inside of her base, and that's what makes the creep spread so important. When you can't press out like Scarlett can't. Ooh, nice fungal growth actually getting these Phoenix, so Scarlett will be able to pick those off. No big deal at all. But Crank has his third now, and he is looking so good. The fourth base is done for Scarlett, but she doesn't have any drones on it yet. I have to say, this is a pretty interesting setup that we have here. The fact that Crank is ahead in supply against Zerg is going to make things rough. The Colossi will deal well with the Zerglings, but Crank's going to need to get some more mortals out in there. We actually had double mortal production now rolling along. He did scout the hive, so he should know that it would be Ultralisks coming in. The question is, does he actually know about... He does know about the Ultralisk Cavern. His observer was able to see that, so knowing that the Immortals are going to do just a fine job for Crank, in all honesty, he can wait for a couple Mortals to come out and probably just go push in. Or try to deny this 4th base, just because of the army supply closeness that he has. 75 to 78 is really, really good for Protoss at this stage in the game. Usually the Zerg player wants to max out before the Protoss and start putting pressure on and trying to deny bases. But one thing that is looking really good for Scarlett is her upgrades. Her chitinous plating is about to complete her 3-3. She has the Grand Spire on the way, as well as Corruptor production now beginning to help deal with these Colossi. And this is where things can get pretty interesting. Picking off that observer, poor thing. And Scarlett spreading that creep like a boss. Of course, the queens don't want to generate too many creep tumors because you want to have transfuses. This is a newer style that's popped up in the metagame versus Protoss lately, where the Zerg player just uses these mass queen Ultralisks to just transfuse and punch through the Colossi AoE. Of course, since Ultralisks are so big, to just pretty much shut down completely a Protoss army. But Scarlett's creep spread has started to explode now. Look at her map vision. She sees everything. In the center, losing the tower though. Crank, he is just slowly inching his way forward, using a little bit of Pylon SimCity as he advances out towards the center of the field. He has a lot of resources banked up, but he's going to get a Fleet Beacon and a Stargate, recognizing the threat here of these Broodlords. And this is where things can get a little bit interesting, because if yeah, he knows what the Grand Spire, so this is a very, very tough spot. He needs to get another observer here. Yeah, he needs to start cleaning up this creep tumors because Scarlett is possibly going to spread her army around, get a big surround. The Broodlords are on the field. We do have a good number of Broodlords. And Broodlord Ultralisk is so rough to deal with. The first Tempest is only just now coming out. Now, Tempest pretty much hard counter the crap out of Broodlords. But is Crank going to be able to get them up in time? Scarlett is maxed out. She doesn't want to overextend here. She's going to move some Spine Crawlers forward. And this is a very aggressive position on Crank's half of the map. This is so aggressive. Zergling does spot this 5th base, or I guess it's the 4th base, in the top area. But Crank can't really protect that. The Broodlords are here now. We have double Tempest production rolling along. The first one is about to come out. And a Tempest, once you have a Tempest on the field, you've pretty much dealt with the Broodlords. Of course, it'll take a little time to kill them, so if Scarlett just retreats with them, she should be okay. But the Tempest just deals so much damage. That's a kinetic overload. 80 damage versus massive units. The Ling's trying to run in towards this 3rd base. Some of them are able to spread themselves around, digging away at this wall. With actually doesn't have adrenal glands. But an overcharge will be enough to shove it back for now, though. Really good SimCity by Scarlett to protect against this. So not bad play at all. The Broodlords are here. And Scarlett has Crank contained on 3 bases. And Viper's coming out now. This is where things get very, very dangerous because Scarlett can just start pulling these Protoss units, these big, expensive ones, into him, into her army. Excuse me. But Tempest, man, they are so good versus the Broodlords. They're so good, you almost should just never build another Broodlord as long as you live, as long as they're Tempest in the field. Scarlett wants to keep these alive, but these Tempests that have so much range, Broodlords just aren't really going to work out too well. But the Vipers, though, are going to be very good. All these Spine Crawlers, I'd like to see some Spores mixed in for good measure. Tempest trying to snipe off these Infestors, which would be very, very nice if Crank was able to get those. But I just like calling it the Grand Spire, by the way, just in case anybody has a heart attack over that at some point. Manages to abduct that Mothership Core. It will fall, but this Tempest count is going to be getting too damn high very, very soon for Crank. He has 5 of them. Such good harassing units. And he's going to push in. He's actually going to go for it here. This, I'm not so sure that Crank should do this. There's a lot of Spine Crawlers he's engaging into. The Ultralisks churning out lots of DPS as well, but Crank is still looking pretty solid. His supply is holding. He's got so many Immortals. These Ultralisks are getting blown to smithereens. The Corruptors, just not enough of them to DPS through the Colossi. The Tempests are all going to fall, though, and it looks like Scarlett is going to be pushed back from this position, at least for now. The Immortal's going to be more than a match for these Spine Crawlers. The Observer will help clear out the Creep Tumors as well. And Scarlett, she is going to need to do something a little bit differently here if she wants to take out Crank. She actually does not have any Larva banked up, it seems, so she's a little bit limited on her production. And Crank's pushing out a little bit, but we have 11 Broodlords coming in and saying, okay, you know what, I killed your Tempest. I don't think you're going to build any more. Not yet. You don't know I'm going to go for a crap ton of Broodlords to follow this up, and 11 Broodlords is going to be more than enough to stop everything on the field here for Crank. This is a bit of an overextension here from our Protoss player. He cannot afford to move out with all of these expensive units, and retreating a very, very wise decision. Just try to get this 4th base up. The Zerglings are already here, though, to try to put some pressure on and delay this, or perhaps stop it. And now the Broodlords are moving across the field, a couple of Infestors. That Zealot knows, Crank knows what's coming. He's going to immediately get that Tempest production rolling again. The Nexus is going to get sniped off for our Axiom Protoss player. Bunch of Changelings dropped, taking a dump in the middle of the field there. We do have the Viper, which can try to abduct the... Oh, there's no Corruptors, actually. This is a really big deal. There's no Corruptors with this army right now. Just a single Corruptor and some Infestors, but no Neural Parasite or anything. So these Tempests, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about Broodlords right now as Zerg versus a Protoss player. You really need to catch someone off guard. And the fact that he already has these double Stargates available with the Fleet Beacon, the Tempest count is about to reach 4, and we're going to start getting to the point where Crank will be one-shotting these Broodlords, so Transfuse won't do as much. A nice fungal growth, though, catches a good amount of this Protoss army. If Scarlett can pick this off for free, that would be huge. Another great fungal growth, stopping these Immortals from getting away. And Scott's actually going to kill a lot of what Crank has, and this is going to allow those Ultralisks to become relevant again in this this game by just having that extra damage on. But now the Tempest are here saying, oh, Broodlords, didn't you forget? You're not supposed to make those anymore, nerd. But now the Zealots are going to come in here and distract these Queens. The Corruptor's trying to get on top of the Tempest. The Broodlords are doing all that they can. Scarlett, though, looks like she might barely be able to come out on top of this fight. The Broodlords are dying so fast, but so are the Tempests. The Corruptors take out all of the Tempests. There's still Broodlords on the field. There are still 5 of them. There's no more Tempests. This is such a rough spot to be in for Crank, because now Scarlett has this tech lead that Crank cannot overcome. He's stuck on 3 bases. He's running out of resources at his natural and his main base. GG, Scarlett takes another game, and we currently have a 4-2 score here in the Acer TeamStory Cup. Best